Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Mickey of Mickey the Bookworm, and I am hopping on the latest booktube trend of the mid-year book freakout. So I've got 12 questions about books I've read so far this year and what I'm looking forward to in the rest of this year. And I'm just gonna hop right in and get started. So the first question was, what's the best book you read so far in 2020? And hands down, I have to say it was Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. I absolutely loved Kaya as a character. I thought this book had a lot to say about biases and prejudices and the unexpected places that beauty can come from, and I just loved Kaya's intelligence. I loved her strength. I loved her spirit and the character growth. There was a lot in here that I didn't expect. The ending especially surprised me, and everything about this book is so beautiful. And when it was over, I felt like I'd lost a friend. Like, I was so emotionally involved with this story, and that takes a really good book. And I just, 5 stars out of 5, highly recommend. Can't love this book enough. This is actually one that I believe I featured it in my video on books that I'll never unhaul. I am not a big rereader, and I don't keep a lot of books unless I think I might reread them or I've just liked them so much that I want to have them like in my collection. And I actually do have this as part of my permanent collection, and I've got my name stamped in the front cover. So that's how much I loved this one. Definitely my favorite so far this year. Okay, question 2 was the best sequel you've read in 2020. I am not a huge reader of series anymore. I could really get into them when I was a kid, but in adulthood, I'm just not good at keeping up. I have a lot of hobbies, I have work, I have a lot of things to do, and I don't have a lot of time for keeping up with series the way that I used to. So the best sequel I've read in 2020 is also the only sequel I've read, and that is China Rich Girlfriend by Kevin Kwan. This is the sequel to Crazy Rich Asians, and I really liked Crazy Rich Asians and really ended up enjoying China Rich Girlfriend as well. I just think it's just such a crazy tale of the Asian jet set, and Rachel Chu, who's an American middle-class background. They call her an ABC, American-born Chinese. She's married to a guy that's from a very wealthy Asian family, and in this book it comes out that she herself is related to another very wealthy Asian family, and there's scandal all over the place. There's scheming and manipulation. It's absolutely crazy in both of these books. I can't wait to get my hands on Rich People Problems, which is the next book. But definitely, even though it was the only sequel I've read so far this year, I think China Rich Girlfriend probably would have still been toward the top, even if I had read more, because it's very fun. More on the lighthearted side of things, not terribly serious, which is good. I like that in a book once in a while. Maybe it's an unpopular opinion, but I don't think every contemporary that I read needs to be hard-hitting. Every once in a while, I need some fluff in my life. I can't be serious all the time. The world is hard, and books can be an escape, and sometimes I just need to escape and not think too hard about the state of the world, and China Rich Girlfriend hit me at a really good time for that. Alright, question 3. What is a new release you haven't read yet but want to? Okay, so for me, that is The Glass Hotel by Emily St. John Mandel. This is not a super new release, but it was new in February, and I picked this up as soon as one of the local bookstores opened back up. And ever since this one has come out, I've loved looking at it. Like, the cover just really draws me in. This little like island and the landscape and the colors really remind me of where I live in Maine and being on the coast, and the story sounds really fascinating. It's about a woman who meets a guy, I think in a hotel bar, and he leaves her $100 tip, and then they end up getting married, and then it turns out he's involved in a Ponzi scheme, and then she disappears on a boat or something. Lots going on, sounds like a lot of drama, but like I said, it sounded really interesting. I know people have really enjoyed her other book, Station 11. I haven't read that yet because I was going to, and then we had a pandemic, and I decided I wouldn't read Station 11 until we were past that. But like I said, people have really enjoyed her other books, so I'm interested to see how this one goes and whether or not I'll enjoy it. Definitely looking forward to it. All right. The next question was, what is your most anticipated release for the rest of the year? I don't really do this. At most, like at best, in the beginning of a given month, I go and look up books that are being released that month and see if there's anything I'm gonna like. And I really don't keep up with new releases that well until they've already been released. It's another one of those things where it's like, I just don't really have time for that, and sorry guys, but yeah, I have no real response to this one. We'll see what happens. I'm sure something is coming out that I'm gonna love. I don't spend a lot of time keeping track of that. All right, question 5. What is the book that was your biggest disappointment this year? So I don't have a physical copy of this one because I read it on an ebook, but for me it was The Gray Seer by Kim Liggett. And I feel like saying it was my biggest disappointment of the year is unfair because I loved it. I really, really loved it. I loved the story. It was horrifying and shocking and oh my word, but I loved it. Like, it drew me in. I read the whole thing in probably like 24 to 36 hours, somewhere in there. It wasn't even 2 full days. I like dropped everything and read that book. So yeah, to say it was my biggest disappointment feels unfair, but mostly it was the ending. I felt like the ending ruined everything. It was disappointing, and I didn't feel like it fit with the rest of the story arc. This is an unpopular opinion. I understand that. A lot of people really liked the ending. I read this for my book club, and almost everybody there was saying that the ending was perfect. And I was like, no, the ending ruined everything. I wanted the main character in that book to lead a giant feminist rebellion. And that's not what happened. I don't want to give spoilers, but I just thought this book could have been a really big and wonderful commentary on the role of women in society, and there was a little bit of that flavor to the end, but the way that the end was done, it was like it stopped just short of that. So it got me close enough to really think that that was coming and really want that to happen, and then the ending just cut it short. There is some buzz going around that says that Kim Liggett is working on a sequel and that it's something that could be coming, but yeah, I'm hoping really hard for that sequel, actually, because I think if The Gray Seer is the beginning of a series, I could get into the series, and then The Gray Seer would be better as the beginning than it is as a standalone. I just think if it happens, I need the next book to carry through some of the arc that I felt like was kind of left hanging at the end of The Gray Seer. Still a really good book. I definitely recommend it, but like I said, I was just so disappointed in the ending that I felt like it kind of ruined it for me. Like it took it from 5 stars to like 3.5. The ending disappointed me so much. Read it for the rest of it. I don't know. It's still good, even though it disappointed me. Okay. Question 6, what was the biggest surprise of 2020? So for me, that was The 10,000 Doors of January by Alex E. Harrow, and this is about a family that basically has magical powers, and there's these doors that lead to all these other worlds, and there's a secret society trying to close all those doors and make them disappear so that people can't travel back and forth between the worlds. So they basically, like, they'll bring back rare artifacts from these places and then shut the doors, and it keeps people from being able to get in and out. And the main girl in this story, January, and her parents are people that can travel back and forth between these worlds, and her mother is trapped in one world and she's trapped in another world, and her dad is working for the guy trying to shut all the doors, and he's using that to try to find his wife. And January is basically being raised by the bad guy that's her dad's patron, and she is growing up and learning about everything that happened, and her dad wrote a book for her that's written like a fictional story, but it's actually about their life. And there's a lot going on. It's a complicated story. I didn't feel like it was so complicated that it was a turnoff, but it was really good. I liked it more than I thought I was going to. It doesn't read like a typical YA, and I'm not usually a big fantasy reader, but I just thought this was a really beautiful story. Also has a really beautiful cover, so that helps. And I liked it so much that this was also another one that I added to my permanent collection. So 5 out of 5 stars, definitely recommend. Okay, let's see, where are we? Question 7, who is your favorite new author? Okay, so my new favorite author is Britt Bennett. She wrote The Vanishing Half, which I just read. I finished it yesterday, and there is so much going on in that story. All of these books that I really like just have a lot going on. I don't like a shallow storyline. So in The Vanishing Half, it talks a lot about light privilege. If I'm wrong, correct me, but my understanding of light privilege is, like with white privilege, you have certain advantages in society because of your skin color. Light privilege is similar in that with Black people, or probably any people of color, but I'm not sure about that, the closer your skin tone is to white, the more you're treated with advantages versus people with a darker skin tone. And there's some commentary too on the spectrum of gender and sexuality, and it really humanizes people that have been minorities in society, whether it's because of their race or because of their skin tone or because of their sexuality. It makes you feel like these people are friends, and I felt really involved in this story, and it takes a really good author to make you feel involved in the story and like you don't want the story to end. And Britt Bennett did that, and I know she has at least one other book out called The Mothers. Definitely interested to read that, and any other books that she publishes, I'm here for that. I definitely want to read more, because if she can keep on making these intense commentaries on society while making me feel involved in the story emotionally, like, almost like it's not even fiction, like it's real. I'm here for that. It's awesome. It shows a lot of talent, and I can't wait to see more. I really, really can't. I just love books that are able to do that for me. Number 8, newest fictional crush. Hands down, Tate Walker from Where the Crawdads Sing. If you haven't read Where the Crawdads Sing, go read it, because you need to read it, and then meet Tate Walker in that story. And that will tell you everything you need to know. I don't feel like I can tell you that much about him without giving spoilers, but he's loyal and he owns up to his mistakes, and he grows up from a nice boy into an awesome man, and I love him. I think he's great. Read Where the Crawdads Sing so you can find out why. Number 9, a book that made you cry. For me, that was Lilac Girls by Martha Hall Kelly. If you've been on this channel, like at all, you find out that World War II fiction is a weakness of mine. I read it all the time. I don't know why. I constantly pick it up. I keep saying I need to branch out. I need to read things that aren't about World War II. And I keep reading them anyway. I just do. There's so much human tragedy that went on during World War II, and there are so many stories to tell, and Lilac Girls had a lot of intersecting angles with the Rabbit Girls in Ravensbrück concentration camp, Americans that were trying to help get people out of Europe before the war and having a really hard time doing that, the French resistance, everything that was going on. And it doesn't stop at the end of the war. It actually tells the stories of these people and these characters after the war as they tried to rebuild their lives and heal. And it's just so good. It's so beautiful, and I definitely cried at that one. Where the Crawdads Sing is the other book that made me cry in 2020. So both of those are really great. I'm not a crier, if that tells you anything. So there were 2 this year, but Lilac Girls definitely made me cry. And I didn't want to keep droning on about Where the Crawdads Sing in this video. Okay, number 10, a book that made you happy. So this one, Sorry I'm Late, I Didn't Want to Come by Jessica Pan. It's about a woman who is an introvert. She lives in Great Britain, and she decides that she wants to get out of her shell and see if it's possible to like learn to be more of an extrovert. And so she does all these activities, like she joins clubs and she goes to an improv class, and she makes friends along the way. She talks to total strangers on the train, and it's full of bumbling mistakes and awkwardness, and there's beauty in it too. The friends that she makes, the family that she basically adopts, it's very sweet and it's very funny. Definitely recommend Sorry I'm Late, I Didn't Want to Come by Jessica Pan. Alright, number 11, we are almost done. Most beautiful book. I don't have this one with me, but it is The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill. I am not much of a middle grade reader, and I haven't been since I was that age myself. But I read this for the book club that I'm a part of, and it is just beautiful. The magic system that's in it. Luna as a character. The witch that is her grandmother, and her mother, and the storyline, and this evil system in this world, and all of the, just so much beauty in it. It's a wonderful story. Definitely check it out. I don't know what else to say about it. It's been a little while. It's been a couple months since I've read that one, so I feel like I'm explaining it really badly. Just know it was beautiful. I loved it. Definitely recommend. I think it won the Newbery Medal, so that's a pretty high recommendation too. Okay, last question. Books I want to read by the end of the year. Number 1 is going to be The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. I don't have it on hand yet, but I've just heard awesome, like, rave reviews about it, and I can't wait to get my hands on it and read it. Number 2 is The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. I've heard mixed reviews about this one. I've heard people saying that they couldn't follow it, that it was really hard for them to follow, that it was really boring. And I've also heard people saying it was really interesting because it's more about place than about storyline. And I just think that's a really interesting concept, so I'm interested to see how it happens and what I end up thinking about it, because I don't think I've ever purposely read a book that was set up like that to be more about place than story. So this will be a new venture for me, but I also really love the cover, so I'm excited to get to this one as well. It's been sitting on my TBR for a while and I just haven't quite made it yet. Alright, last one that I'm really looking forward to and the rest of the year definitely making a priority, Lost Roses by Martha Hall Kelly. This is the prequel to Lilac Girls, and I felt like Lilac Girls was really good and doesn't really need a prequel or a sequel, but I liked it so much that I decided I was going to pick up this one anyway, and I got it on sale at Barnes & Noble, so there's that. Definitely want to see what led up to Lilac Girls, even though that's something I normally wouldn't do. I guess Lilac Girls just entranced me so much that I'm like ready for anything, so we'll see how this one goes. Alright, there you have it. That is the mid-year book freakout tag, and I'll be back soon with my June wrap-up and my July TBR, as well as a couple other things that I'm trying to cook up, and I'll talk to you guys then. See you soon!